Hello and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 359. My name is Emily Rainbow Davis, and if you're listening to this when it comes out, I'm in Crete. So I'm recording this in advance of my trip to Crete. I leave tomorrow, but by the time you hear it, it's going to go up on Monday. I will have been there. It'll be my first full day at the residency. So just picture me in Crete, in a little village surrounded by artists and trees and whatnot. So I'm coming to you from the past and the current moment, the imagined current moment. The next two episodes are going to be replays because I could not get the songs together for the next one, nor could I find the time to do a bunch of recording. Unfortunately, in the sort of smooshed in time between international travel. What a summer this is. Very different than the last few summers, I have to say. So let's just enjoy this one in the current moment, since that's what we have. And the other two will be replays. I haven't decided what they're going to be yet, so, look out for those. So today's blog is about a trope from screenwriting, and it's a little bit about the power again. Just I couldn't help it, but mostly it's about this little trope. So let me read it to you. It is called "You Just Don't Get It, Do You?" While watching the new Perry Mason show, I heard one character say to another, "You just don't get it, do you?" And I wanted to ring a bell. Ding, ding, ding! Every screenwriter's favorite line! There was a bit of a stir around a movie clip video supercut a while back, which featured one character after another saying, "You just don't get it, do you?" As you watch, you could start to feel crazy as one person after another says in almost exactly the same tone, because there's really only one line reading for this text, "You just don't get it, do you?" With occasional text variations. The video went viral, and I would have thought 8 minutes of a single line repeated would have alerted every screenwriter to flash a red light whenever this phrase slid out of their pen or keyboard. I certainly put a mental pin in it. But apparently folks are still saying, "You just don't get it, do you?" on screen. I feel like I read a breakdown of why this phrase was both so ubiquitous and so lame, but I cannot find it now, 12 years later, apparently. Maybe the folks at Perry Mason thought no one would notice their cliche because 12 years have passed since this trope got called out. I don't remember what folks were saying about this in 2011 when this video went around, but now it's clear to me that it is a way for a character to explain something going on in the story. A way to squeeze in some exposition or context. It's a funny, stylized way to include information. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say this phrase in real life, but it is relentlessly common on screen. It sounds natural because we hear it so often, but it is just an exposition delivery mechanism disguised as a tiny conflict between two characters. I was thinking about this phrase while watching The Power. I know, I thought it was done, but apparently not. I don't think they actually used this line, but the whole show feels like a fleshed out, "you just don't get it, do you?" story. This is partly because of the enormous amount of exposition that the show indulges in, but mostly because of the attitude. The show feels like someone is playing that line under everything, whispering it, declaiming it, shouting it over and over again. The series feels like one big, "you just don't get it, do you?" And the problem is, I do get it. I do understand why the women in this show are angry and why there is enormous appeal in the evolution of a power that shifts the angle of the playing field. It feels somehow condescending to have these things explicitly stated or illustrated or demonstrated. And I imagine that patronizing feeling is much worse for men watching the show, and very possibly more alienating in the ways it tries to include them and educate them. A show that keeps reiterating that you, the audience, just don't get it, do you? Is a show that is fairly likely to push away its viewers. We all like to think we get it. Even men without a stitch of exposure to the feminist movement don't like to be told they don't get it. Even if they don't. We all have things we don't get. I'm sure there are a lot of things about being a man that I don't get, and it's clear that there are a lot of things that many men don't get about being a woman. And of course, there are tons of things cis people don't get about being trans, and so on. Part of the reason we've had movements like Me Too and Yes, All Women is that it became very clear how much was not understood. It can feel like we live in different worlds sometimes. Here's a conversation I had with a man recently. He said, "I like to keep the shades open so I can look out and remember I live in a city." And I said, "And I like to keep them closed so I don't get stalked and raped and murdered." And then there was silence. I could have said, "You just don't get it, do you?" But there's no need when we put beauty and fear of violence on the scale. I think he got it. I guess I feel like if someone doesn't get it, finding a way to demonstrate it or feel it or even just explain it is a more useful way forward than leaning into cliches would be. I mean, you get it, right? When I was thinking about this piece, I rewatched the video, the "You Just Don't Get It, Do You?" video, which I recommend, by the way. It's like 8 minutes, but it goes fast somehow. It's good editing. Anyway, I had this line in my head for a few days, maybe a week. I don't know. It was like I just walked around thinking like, "You just don't get it, do you? You just don't get it, do you? You just don't get it, do you?" It's so funny to watch too, because sometimes you can really see the actors like trying really hard to like give it a new spin, like a fresh, here's a cliche, how can I zhuzh this up, but it's not possible. I don't think. What song do I have for you? Well, interestingly, even though this is a giant cliche in screenwriting, I'm sure this guy did not use half of the available "You Just Don't Get It, Do Yous." It is not a giant cliche in music. I could not find many songs that feature this particular phrase. It is not popular. The only song I could find was a song by Culture Club, a late Culture Club song. By late, I mean like not the 80s. I think it's 2000 and something. But it's a Culture Club song called "See Through," which I'm going to play for you in a little bit, and does in fact happily feature the phrase "You just don't get it, do you?" It's fun to sing it, actually. So I'm going to play that for you shortly. Meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. If you like this experience, please tell someone about it, share it, like it, review it, subscribe it, all of the things. If you'd like to support this blogcast and the blog that goes with it and the person that makes them, that's me, you could go to patreon.com/Emily R. Davis, or you could become a member at Ko-fi also. They also do like a monthly payment situation. Or just like single payments, and also PayPal does that. I've joined Substack, although I have been a little bit lax in the last few weeks in getting over there to post things. But you could, if you joined it and subscribed on Substack, I would be much better about it, I promise. So those are all places you can support me and this work, and I thank you. And all of those who do that and support in all kinds of ways also. Just by listening is also pretty great support. So thank you for your ears. And with that, I think I'm going to give you this Culture Club song. I would like to have spent a little bit more time with it. It's just been a kind of a busy few weeks here with all the international travel. But I hope that you will enjoy it anyway. And if it sends you to go listen to this Culture Club song that I certainly had never heard before, then that's also cool. It's part of what I'm enjoying here in the blogcast world. So here it is on guitar. See Through. No apology necessary. Shut your mouth, you've closed your mind. We've been walking this road forever. It don't lead to paradise. In the mirror, your sad reflection haunting you. Now I see mine. Yes, I see mine. And you just don't get it. You just might regret it. You might regret it. Shooting the rainbows from the sky, throwing your love to passers-by, begging forgiveness for your crime, never prepared to do your time. It's always them and never you, 'cause you're so see-through. I see through you. Ain't no use in demanding justice. You're a victim of your sign. Held you up when your heart was heavy. Now you never give me mine. In the mirror, my sad reflection haunting me one more time. One more time. And you just don't get it, do ya? But you just might regret it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Shooting the rainbows from the sky, throwing your love to passers-by, begging forgiveness for your crime, never prepared to do your time. It's always them and never you, 'cause you're so see-through. Shooting the rainbows from the sky, throwing your love to passers-by, begging forgiveness for your crime, never prepared to do your time. It's always them and never you. Boy, you're so see-through. You just don't get it, no, you just don't get it, do you? You just don't get it, but you might regret it. You might regret it. Shooting the rainbows from the sky, throwing your love to passers-by, begging forgiveness for your crime, never prepared to do your time. It's always them and never you, 'cause you're so see-through. Shooting the rainbows from the sky, throwing your love to passers-by, begging forgiveness for your crime, never prepared to do your time. It's always them and never you, 'cause you're so see-through.